Hi. Hi, my name is Jasmine and I'm from FIBO, and this is the first time going live. I'm gonna kind of wait until we get some viewers on here. But today what we're gonna do is we're going to be creating a Halloween themed ABC book. So for this, you could use a sketchbook and you could do a different page for every letter of the alphabet. I really like these little blank books, especially for kids. You can decorate the outside, the cover, and then there's just a bunch of blank pages inside, and you can dedicate a different page for every letter. So I'm going to go ahead and draw directly on this big paper so that you can see a little bit better about what I am doing. But let's see. Let me go back and see if I can see. But let's see. Go back and see if I can see. Okay, so I do see that there is one watching now. Can you go ahead and say something in the chat just so I know that someone is actually there? That'd be awesome. What's your name? All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and just start. So the first one is gonna be for the letter A. So you can go ahead on your page if you wish. You can go ahead and write letter A however you wish. I'm gonna go ahead and just do it like a block letter up here. Okay, now for ABCs for Halloween, it's a little bit hard for the letter A, but the first thing that comes to mind for me is autumn, or fall. So A is for autumn. So you can go ahead and write A is for autumn if you wish, or you can skip that step and just do the drawing. Okay, so when I think of autumn, I think of like a fall leaf. So I'm going to draw a fall leaf with you. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to draw a line for the middle of the leaf. We're going to keep it pointed on top and come down kind of like a triangle, like a really thin triangle. And then we're going to go ahead and connect to the bottom. And then the bottom of the leaf is going to be bigger than the top. So we're going to draw a curved line on the left and a curved line on the right. All right, and then we're going to draw kind of like a letter U and a letter U. And then another letter U and a smaller letter U. And then we'll do a smaller letter U coming up to a point and in the leaf by coming to a point at the very top. Then we're going to draw some lines for the vein lines inside of the leaf. You can draw as many as you want. I kind of like drawing the lines in line with the points of the leaves, so that's why I did 3 on each side. All right, so we completed our first drawing for the Halloween ABC book. So let's go ahead and either flip to your next page, get a new piece of paper. I'm just drawing on a giant sketchbook, but you can draw again. For those of you that missed before, you can have like a regular sketchbook or a little book or just a stack of like printer paper. So our next letter is going to be the letter B. So why don't you write in the chat like if you have an idea of what to draw for the letter B for Halloween. So the first thing that comes to mind for me is like boo, like a ghost saying boo. So let's go ahead and draw a ghost saying boo, although I may want to use the letter G for the for ghosts. So let's actually do a bat. Okay. All right. So a bat. Let's go ahead and start off with an oval for the head. We'll draw this kind of like a cartoon bat. And then we'll draw like a smaller body. And then little feet. And then let's draw the ears. Now the ears could be like big, like rainbows, or you could kind of keep them pointed. I think that bats have pretty big ears. Now, if you want to, you could draw a line down the middle. And then you could draw any kind of eyes you want. I kind of like, just for Halloween, kind of like making like angry or mad eyes. It just kind of looks a little bit more spooky. So I draw two little lines going in, and then draw the actual eyes. And then you can draw any kind of nose or mouth you want. I'm gonna draw like a little oval for the nose and maybe like a little smirk, like a little smile, like a letter U. And then we'll draw the wings. So we're gonna start right where the head and the body meet. And we're gonna go up and up. And then out and out. And then for the bottom of the wing, you can just connect with a curved line, or you could go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we'll kind of turn this into like the little arms. So we're going to follow that top line and come to a point. Follow the top line and come to a point. And then add the little hand or thumb. And we'll start at the point and we'll bring it up and up, up and up. All right, now remember, with all of these pictures, you can go ahead and make them as detailed as you wish, or you can keep them nice and simple. Just gonna add a few little things to show that he's flying in the night sky, maybe add some clouds if you wish. All right, so that's our letter B for our Halloween ABC book. Flip to your next page, and let's go ahead and do the letter C. So in the chat, go ahead and write what you think of. What's the very first thing that you think of for Halloween for the letter C? And let me know if you have any thoughts. All right, so the first thing that comes to my mind is cauldron. So I'm going to start off with, let's go ahead and start off with like a curved line for the top of the cauldron. Now I didn't draw the whole oval because I'm going to want to draw some bubbles of the potion that's inside, like the witch's brew. So I'm going to draw like 2 big bubbles, and then I'm going to draw some ovals just like for the reflection on the bubbles. And then I'll draw a line for like the liquid inside, and then a smaller bubble that's like farther away. And maybe just put a little line on it. And then I'm going to draw like a couple more bubbles that would be on the top of the cauldron. And then this would be like, I'm going to draw a rainbow that would be kind of the back of the cauldron, the top of the cauldron. So I'm going to go like this, but I'm going to go behind the bubbles. Now I'm doing all this so that because I'm drawing with a marker and I'm trying not to erase, but it probably would be easier to just go ahead and draw this whole shape. Okay, now I'm going to follow that again. All the way around like an oval. And then I'm going to draw 2 little curved lines on the top of the cauldron. And then I'm going to draw like a circle for the base of the cauldron. Now, if you wanted to make this kind of like a chibi style or kawaii style, you could add some big eyes, a little mouth, and some handles, or you could leave it like this if you wanted it to stay realistic. You could definitely draw some like steam coming up. However you wish to do that. It could be a single line, or you could do this like kind of double line that I am doing. Totally up to you. I'm just going to draw the base of the cauldron with like an oval. And I'm just going to draw some lines on the side. Just like stylized lines. So that's our C for cauldron. All right, let's go to the next page. So now we will do D. So if you're watching, go ahead and tell me what the first thing is that comes to your mind for the letter D for Halloween. So while you're thinking about that, let's go ahead and write the letter D. Again, you could be doing this in a sketchbook. You could just be doing this on printer paper, wherever you would like. Kind of like the idea of doing it in a book so that you have it when you're all done. You've created an entire Halloween book. All right, so for the letter D, the first thing that comes to mind for me for Halloween is a Dracula. So I'm just going to draw Dracula's face to keep it nice and simple. I'm going to start off with a letter M. So it kind of reminds me of like Mickey Mouse. They always start with a M when drawing Mickey Mouse. I'm going to go out and out for like the sideburns on Dracula. I'm going to draw kind of a cartoon version of this. I'm going to come up for the middle of his head and back down, so kind of like a larger M than we started with. And then I'm going to come all the way around for the bottom of his face. And then I don't know why, but I think of like pointed ears for a Dracula. So I'm going to come up and down, same thing on the other side. You can draw a little line inside the ears if you wish. And then you can draw any kind of face that you want, but I think the most important thing that we do to make sure that this looks like a Dracula is to add the fangs or like the big teeth. So I'm going to draw a line for the top of the mouth, and then I'm going to draw the 2 teeth. And then you could leave the mouth like that, or like you could come and draw the inside of the mouth. I always like to kind of draw a tongue like this, kind of like a letter M. You could draw any kind of nose you want. And then you could draw any kind of eyes you want as well. Again, we're kind of doing a Halloween themed thing, so I'm going to make him look a little bit angry. So I'm going to draw 2 lines pointed in. Then I'm going to draw 2 letter U's for the inside of the eyes, and then maybe a little circle for the pupil. Now, you could be done right there, or if you want to, you could finish this off by like drawing like a little bow. And kind of needs like a big collar that's pointed up. And then his cape. Could leave it like that, or you could continue to draw his body. I think I'm gonna leave it right there. Again, you can keep these drawings as simple as you want, or you can make them more complicated. You could add, like once you learn how to do something in one drawing, you could go ahead and add items from those previous drawings into the new drawing. So for example, like if I go back to my bat, I'm gonna pull that out. So like when we did letter B and we did a bat, like it would be really cute to add a bat onto your Dracula one. It doesn't have to be as complicated or as advanced as like the original one that we did. Just like real quick, copy my bat. I have my bat right next to me, so I'm looking at it. And if you just joined, you can go ahead and go back on the live and go back to the previous drawings. If you did just join us, just to let you know what we're doing is we're drawing an ABC book for Halloween. So we're drawing a different Halloween themed item for every letter of the alphabet. So far we have done A is for autumn, so I drew a fall leaf. And then as you just saw, we did B is for bat, and C is for cauldron, and then we just did D is for Dracula. Now you could do this like very cartoony style, or you could do a realistic style. It's really up to you. And like I said before, I highly recommend having like a regular sketchbook, like a spiral bound sketchbook, or get one of these hardbound sketchbooks. Make every page in the book a different letter of the alphabet and draw the item in that page. All right, so I do see somebody has joined the live. If you want to say hi in the chat, I would love to say hi. Thank you for being here. We're going to have a lot of fun going all the way through the alphabet. All right, and if you don't have time to do this right now, totally understand. You can go ahead and save this live. You can go ahead and come back, watch it later. I think I've never done a live before, but I think that they save it so that you're able to see it later. If you know, let me know in the chat. I'm kind of learning along with everyone else. All right, so we're going to start off with the letter E. Again, you can write these letters however you want in any style you want. I'm just doing like a simple block letter. So there's my letter E. And so what's the first thing that comes to mind for you when you think of Halloween and the letter E? Some of these letters are a lot harder than others to think of things. The first thing, I just did a Halloween party for some kids, and I got these little ping pong balls that were eyeballs. So that's the first thing that I think of when I think of the letter E. So let's go ahead and draw an eyeball. This is gonna be super easy. So let's go ahead and draw a circle for the eyeball. And then we'll draw another circle inside. And if you want to, you could draw another circle inside of that, and then that one would be filled in. Now this is a little weird because I'm drawing with an orange marker, but like that would be a black dot for the pupil. And then you would draw the red lines for the eyes. So if you were using different colors, I would recommend getting like red for this part. And then just draw different wiggly waggly, is that a word? Wiggly waggly lines going. Scribbly scrabbly. They don't need to be perfect, actually. The less perfect they are, the better this is going to look. Okay, that one was like super easy, right? That's E is for eyeball. Okay, and like I said before, if you want to add anything to your pictures, feel free. All right, that brings us to F. So if you want to, go ahead and put in the chat what you think of when you think of the letter F in terms of Halloween. While we're thinking about it, let's go ahead and draw or write the letter F. And again, you can write that in any style that you want. And let's go ahead and do Frankenstein. So Frankenstein, the most important thing that we do is that we draw kind of like a rectangular shape for the head. Okay, and then I always think of like Frankenstein as having sideburns. And then like bangs, really short bangs. And then he definitely has like stitches on his head. And then his ears. And then you could draw any kind of face that you want. So again, I'm kind of going with my Halloween style eyes, makes them look a little bit mean by drawing two lines going in towards each other. And then we could draw eyebrows if we wish. We could draw any kind of nose we want. And then we could draw any kind of mouth we want. Again, you could be doing like realistic style or cartoon style. Totally up to you. And then doesn't Frankenstein have like something coming out of his neck? So like we draw a neck and then we can draw this coming out of his neck. I have to look up Frankenstein to see exactly what he looks like. And again, we can just leave this nice and simple on here, or we could add different things around to make it a little bit more exciting. Just for Halloween, I think anything to do with nighttime is gonna be pretty on theme. Okay, now you could add the body if you wish, or we can move on to the next letter. I'm keeping these pretty simple because we've got so many to draw. Let's go ahead and move on to G. Okay, now G is easy in my mind. The first thing that I think of is a ghost, okay? Now we could draw a really simple ghost. That would be something like this, where we draw a rainbow. Connect the bottom however you want. Ovals for the eyes and ovals for the mouth. You could leave it like that. You could add some arms and hands if you wish. You could write them saying boo. Or we can do it a little bit more complicated. So instead, let's see, we could draw the head kind of pointed on the top. And again, we can go with our Halloween slanted eyes. Could draw an oval for the mouth, or we could draw like this upside down, like a rainbow, and then make it all jagged on the bottom. If you watch one of my YouTube shorts, I have a video of drawing a ghost in there. You could follow. It's kind of following that same idea. And then the bottom, instead of drawing like just one smooth line, I'm going to go ahead and draw a jagged line. And for the arms, instead of just drawing like stick figure arms, I'm going to come out and then draw jagged on the bottom. Great thing with a ghost is it's really easy to draw because there's no right or wrong. And you could leave it like that, or you could write like boo. Again, keep it simple, or you could add some little things all around it. All right, awesome. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the letter H. Okay, so for the letter H, the first thing that comes to mind for me is haunted house. So haunted house, when I think of drawing a haunted house, is just draw a house, but kind of all crooked, and add some Halloween items inside of it. So let's see. Okay, so when we draw the house, we're just going to kind of draw lines that are like angled. So let's go ahead and draw the roof with a triangle. And then we're going to come down 1 and 2, connect the bottom with a straight line, and then we'll draw a line above that for kind of like a second story. And on the sides, we'll draw 2 straight lines. And we'll come up and up for the sides of the roof and connect the top with a straight line. And then we'll draw one little extra part of the house, 2 lines up like a number 11, draw a line straight across, and then up and up for the sides, and connect the top. Okay, now's the fun part. So now we get to kind of like add different things. So we could add, like we could extend this line and draw a top line for a fence. And then draw some lines for the vertical posts of the fence. And then we could add a moon, maybe some clouds. And then we could draw a window. Could draw a spider web. I just thought of something for the letter B. We could have done witch's broom. That would have been a good one. Funny how I always think of these things after the fact. All right, draw a little spider in there. You could draw a door. Could draw a cat, like a black cat. So circle for the head, triangles for the ears, little whiskers. I'm doing it kind of like a silhouette. So let's see, I'm gonna come draw the back of the cat and down, and then little feet, the belly, and a tail. And he's kind of not standing on anything, so I'm going to add some more vertical posts so that it looks like he's actually standing on something. Okay, so you could keep going on and on and on with this haunted house. Haunted houses are one of my favorite things to draw for Halloween, just because of the amount of creativity that you could add to them. All right. I'm going to go ahead and end this one. If you liked this, go ahead and add some comments that I can see after the fact, and I'll be super excited to do this again.